After being accepted in transitional housing for homeless youth, I unexpectedly landed a job serving that same community. I was a homeless youth working with homeless youth. The irony wasn't lost on me. In Portland, 5 organizations collaborated to ensure homeless youth could access every possible resource. One of the roles in this network was a recovery transition advocate, RTA, a liaison between the organizations and a peer counselor for youth struggling with addiction. Despite being just 19, I became an RTA. They approached me with the idea. The job was designed for younger people who could connect with youth on a personal level, often those with a history of addiction who were now sober. While I didn't have a dependency history, my story of homelessness, stemming from losing my mother to addiction, offered a perspective they hadn't considered. It was a chance to reach others through a different lens. Since I was still receiving services from New Avenues for Youth, I couldn't work in their facilities. Instead, I worked with 3 others: DePaul Treatment Center, Outside In, and Janus Youth Programs. Each organization had its unique approach, but shared the same goal: supporting underprivileged youth and maintaining sobriety. Harm reduction, rather than shame, was the cornerstone of their work. This gentle, human-centered approach resonated with me. DePaul paid me, but I rarely worked with them outside of training. Most of my time was split between Janus and Outside In. At Janus, I worked 2 nights a week in shelters, helping staff and connecting with clients. However, living in transitional housing myself created awkward situations. Some shelter clients became my roommates, and kids I lived with would occasionally end up at the shelters after being kicked out. It was a delicate balance to maintain. At Outside In, I worked at our Trans Identity Resource Center, TIRC. While I'm cisgender, I had access to their program to legally change my name, a service usually offered to trans individuals. Familiarity with the program made me a natural fit. I loved it there. The inclusivity was palpable. I was the only cis staff member outside of the doctor who prescribed hormones twice a week, but I never felt out of place. On my first day, a trans boy experiencing a mental health crisis mistook me for a trans man, saying, "Shit, the tea works great on you." I replied, "You're right." He didn't need to know I was cis. It wouldn't have helped. The staff later praised my response. I felt like I had earned my place. There were lighter moments too. During training, I misplaced my binder and went to office asking if anyone had seen it. Someone eventually asked, "Why the hell do you need a binder?" Confused, I explained it held my training materials. The room erupted in laughter as they explained binder meant something very different in the trans community. Working with homeless youth sometimes blurred the line between personal and professional life. One day at SMYRC, Sexual Minority Youth Resource Center, a 14-year-old kid arrived barefoot and terrified, new to Portland and homeless. My heart ached for them. I bought them shoes and a hoodie from Goodwill and walked them to the shelter where I worked. While I was glad to help, the experience left me emotionally drained. Despite the challenges, there were some bright spots. Our supervisors took us on a work retreat to Mount Hood, where we stayed in a cabin and went whitewater rafting. It was my first time rafting, and we tackled a level 3 course with a big waterfall. As we approached it, our stoner guide forgot to explain how to stabilize ourselves properly. Everyone in my raft fell out except me. Instinctively, I shifted away from the edge, which saved me from the plunge. I helped pull everyone back into the raft afterward, and while the 20-foot drop was terrifying, it wasn't harmful. It was a thrilling, unforgettable moment. But my time as an RTA was complicated. Once, a shelter resident tried to blackmail me, demanding $100 for meth, or he'd falsely accuse me of propositioning him. I refused and reported it, but I was suspended while an investigation ensued. Though I was eventually cleared, the ordeal shook me. I realized I shouldn't have been hired in the first place. Being a homeless youth working with other homeless youth created dynamics that were too fraught. Feeling deflated, I left the job and decided to return to Fresno to tie up some loose ends. Before leaving, I threw a farewell party that became iconic when Jinx Monsoon, not yet famous, had a dramatic breakup in my living room. My friend Shamika walked me to the train station, staying on the platform until my train pulled away. Returning to Fresno felt like a mistake, but it gave me clarity. After 18 months, I returned to Portland, ready for a fresh start. I reconnected with friends like Shamika, Steve, Elena, and Danielle, while steering clear of the toxic influences that had previously derailed me. Looking back, I'm grateful for my time as an RTA, even though it was emotionally taxing. It taught me resilience and the importance of boundaries. I later learned the man who accused me died of a drug overdose. While I forgive him, I mourn the opportunity to have been a lifeline for him if circumstances had been different. My journey has had its ups and downs, but each chapter has shaped me. I continue to navigate challenges, knowing the struggles of my past have made me stronger.